Hi, you guys. Welcome back. We've been using Saturn to help understand the manifestation formula of these lovely pop girls series, and I'd love to look at Chloe Bailey today. Now, Saturn in your chart is how you develop, and the reason that this is very powerful is that Saturn returns happen around 28. So, the more that a pop girl embodies her Saturn, the more that she can be more achieving. And you see this with Beyonce, who has Saturn in Libra and took upon herself to continuously develop her fashion sense and be an authority of fashion in her own way. It doesn't necessarily mean that she becomes a model or a fashion industry, but she did develop herself to be an authority, in which Beyonce's pageantry, her walk, these are all things, her modeling poses, these are all things that she mastered. And she did these things before age 28. So this shows you that there's a formula to disciplining yourself, right? In not punishing, but disciplining yourself towards your greatness when you're using Saturn. So when we look at Chloe, we see that Chloe has Saturn in Taurus. And one of the things here that is important to see about Taurus is its role in the zodiac for our self-esteem. And I think that it's important to see where people make mistakes, because just like Beyonce, who also was criticized early on for her fashion sense, right? That's why she has that line that says, the spandex dress or whatever. The dress looks a mess or whatever, right? So she was criticized too for her fashion sense. She too had to develop. So Saturn is showing you that people have to develop, and the facade, the illusions that someone shows up perfect like Beyonce is not true. Beyonce wasn't built in a day. It took time, and this is a part of Saturn's understanding in the natal chart. Going back to Chloe, we can actually see that some of the things that were difficult for Chloe was self-esteem. When I look at her first album, it's a beautiful, masterful piece of artwork. That doesn't change. The frequency is dealing with her sense of self-esteem and trying to find that, and on the search of that through the album. That was the frequency that I got out of it. And I think that this also shows in other people's criticisms on how they feel like she's too forceful with her sexuality, because that usually is a sign for many people that you do lack self-esteem, that you have to force it. Now, it doesn't make her wrong. It doesn't make it anything. And in fact, just like Beyonce, you may look back and see that she was always this huge budding sexual unstoppable train, right? But the biggest thing of the frequency isn't that she forces her sexuality just on the surface of what you see, but it's more in the frequency of her feeling state of how she's being. And that also is what Saturn is helping to develop, because Saturn is not our feelings. It's solidifying your feelings into something more than just our emotions. It takes our feelings and makes them become something of themselves. So Chloe having Saturn in Taurus means that she is here to develop her voice, to develop her sense of value, and how is she valuable to others. And it's not a mistake that her sexuality is valuable to others, but she has to learn how to Taurus herself through that. It's very different than Scorpio. So Scorpio rules over sex, but having Saturn in Taurus means, how can I help others? How can I be of value to others with my sexuality? So this might be something more connected to guiding people towards a more sexual, healthy lifestyle, right? So looking at her value system is where she is learning how to develop, and this is how she's going to make her mark. She's going to make her mark through becoming extremely valuable to people. So Chloe is like the fertilizer in the garden. right? In the Garden of Taurus, and this is what she has come here to do, to make her mark. And those who have Taurus, Saturn and Taurus, that's also what they're also here to do. So some of her work is similar to Beyonce's because both her and Beyonce are Venus Saturn placements, right? So she does have to work also in the beauty industry, and that doesn't mean that she needs to dominate the beauty industry, doesn't mean that she needs to be in the beauty world, but in her own way, just like Beyonce did with fashion, discover and unlock these things. Now, fashion is more Libra, right? That's Saturn in Libra for Beyonce. Makeup, I feel, is more Taurus. So really her makeup, her ability to be a makeup artist, a model for makeup, and taking that industry, everything that is about that industry on its path, right? Just like how Beyonce did with Libra, with her Libra energy, pageantry, walking, modeling, photo shoots, right? So with makeup and Chloe, it's the sense of production, layering, color combinations, aesthetics, and so many things that even I don't know about the makeup industry, right? And being able to be an authority in that space, also a very big part of her path. And yes, and let's also not mention, don't forget to mention that Taurus is the voice. So she has a very important voice, and she makes her mark with her voice, with Saturn being in Taurus. So that's also going to be a big part of her work. And I think that that is already there, but the self-esteem part is the part that matters, the self-value, the self-worth part, feeling worthy, helping others to feel worthy. These are the things that will also help her to get to where she's going. Now, there's many aspects in the chart. There's other formulas that I have, like Mars is how you win. The moon is your money flow, Venus profile. So I'm going to be doing that with all of these girls too. And then you can also check the articles, the blog articles that I will be writing. And if you want to know more about your chart, you can utilize the worksheets that I have. I do have one on Saturn. You would want to get the Saturn one, which is Make Saturn Your Bitch, and you'd want to get the 10th house one, which combines your 10th house and Saturn placement on how you make your mark in the world. Okay, guys, so I hope that this was useful to you. Let me know what else you'd like to see from me or who else you'd like for me to analyze.